20 Republican Congress members may resign in the coming weeks. Let me repeat that again. 20. 20 MAGA Republican Congress members may be resigning in the coming weeks, even before New Year's. That means bye-bye MAGA Mike Johnson. Puck, a media company, got the scoop. Here's what they're reporting. Upwards of 20 House Republicans are expecting to announce their retirement in the coming weeks, with most of the retirements coming from potential safe seats for the Republican Party, though still potentially placing additional pressure on stress on House Speaker MAGA Mike Johnson and the party's majority in the House of Representatives. And MAGA Mike and Donald Trump are even fearing that it is possible that there will be a change in the majority in the House of Representatives before the midterms and potentially even in the next few weeks. Multiple Republican lawmakers and aides have been telling Puck News that there is this exodus that should be happening very soon. It can imperil the current majority, leading to Hakeem Jeffries potentially becoming the new Speaker of the House. It's according to this report, the MAGA Republicans are seeing Donald Trump's approval plummeting across all polls right now. November's off-year elections from Virginia, New Jersey, Georgia, and throughout the country, even the special election in the 7th Congressional District where a MAGA candidate won but only by single digits, is freaking out these MAGA Republicans. And they're saying that at this point, their only job right now is to defend whatever Donald Trump is doing. And that's not why they came into Congress. And they think that the regime is disrespecting them and making them all look stupid each and every day. And this, as we've learned that U.S. layoffs are on track to exceed the great financial crisis levels. Layoffs right now up 54% year over year, 1.1 million layoffs already. And by the time we get the full aggregated data, that number could look closer to 2 million layoffs in a year. So while all of this is taking place, you have MAGA Republican Congress members who are saying, look, we have to focus on affordability, and Trump is throwing this party under the bus. He's destroying us right now. For example, you've got MAGA Republican Congress member Brian Fitzpatrick. Here's what he says. Play this clip.
Politically, how problematic will it be for Republicans not to figure out a solution to this?
Well, everybody's got to have an answer to rising costs across the board, whether it be healthcare or anything. This is what people voted on. I believe this is what led to Donald Trump's election in 24. I believe it's what led to Mondami's election in 25. I think affordability is the issue. That's what trumps everything else. People care about these other issues. They certainly want, us to have smart foreign policy and, all those things. But if you're living paycheck to paycheck, which most Americans are, and you can't afford to make ends meet, nothing else matters other than that. And they want to know that people are going to have a plan to help fix that.
Has your party been making this enough of a focus? Affordability?
I don't think they have. Because
the president himself called affordability a Democratic scam this week.
I don't believe that to be true at all. No, it's real. Believe me, I hear it every day back home. Mm-hmm. It's real.
Do you find those comments problematic?
I don't know what he was intending. I mean, I've heard him say the opposite of that, that he wants to focus on affordability. I don't know where he's going with that. But I can just tell you from my standpoint, affordability is the most important issue. Mm-hmm. Issue number one.
And by the way, as we're reporting this, I would be remiss if I didn't remind you, please hit subscribe right now and help the MeidasTouch Network get to 6 million subscribers. The MAGA Republicans, the Trump regime, the state regime media known as Fox are currently attacking us from every direction. We're leading all independent media right now. You may think you're subscribed to this channel, but you may not actually be subscribed. So just double check. We're trying to get to 6 million subscribers this month, so please subscribe if you can. All right, back at it. Then you've got MAGA Republican Congress member Kylie and and Republican Congress member Thomas Massey. Here's what they had to say. Play this clip.
Missing in action in a lot of ways. The House is not in the driver's seat when it comes to key policy areas.
You have a lot of intelligent, hardworking people who gave up a lot of things to be here in Congress, only to find out that all they get to do is come here and rubber stamp whatever Donald Trump wants. Because nobody wants to be a rubber stamp. You could get a monkey to do this job.
And folks, even MAGA Republican Congress member Grothman admits that if the Affordable Care Act subsidies extension reach the House floor, which MAGA Mike Johnson is doing everything he can to block, there would be votes to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies, which is what the Democrats want. And it's what the people want. Because if the Affordable Care Act subsidies are not extended, and today it's December 8th, right? We are, 23 days away from the complete expiration of the current locked-in Affordable Care Act exchange plans. You have to start one on Jan 1. People will not have their health care. And tens of millions of Americans are going to lose their health care, not because this was some Democratic talking point, but because this is the real world. And the Affordable Care Act subsidies and Obamacare is relied on by people as MAGA is ripped it away from them and saying they're going to introduce a plan. And Trump says he's got a plan and MAGA Mike says they've got a plan. Just give us some time. And they never introduced a plan. Here's what Congressmember Grothman has to say. Here, play this clip.
And if a vote on subsidies does come to the House before the end of the year, does it pass the House?
I hate to guess. My guess is there are enough people there who will vote yes on anything that if it is the Democrat plan, I think it'll pass the House. I shouldn't say that, but you only need to add 3 or 4 Republicans to all the Democrats and it'll pass.
Now, folks, this is all coming to a head right now, and let me explain to you why. The National Defense Authorization Act, the NDAA, which in theory funds the military, but a lot else is moved into these NDAAs. It's now been released, and the NDAA needs to be passed pretty soon. And when you look at what's in the NDAA versus what's not in the NDAA, it seems like MAGA Mike may be moving towards another brutal embarrassment right here. So the National Defense Authorization Act calls for about $900 billion in military spending. Okay. Interestingly, it does not refer to the Department of Defense as the Department of War, just a made-up name, an unlawful name that Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth called. They refer to it again as the Department of Defense. The NDAA is 3,086 pages. And can we just think about this for a second, too? While the American people are having their health care ripped away, as the American people can't afford housing, as the American people see prices surging, as the American people are, if some are lucky enough to live paycheck to paycheck, but a lot of Americans even aren't getting that paycheck and are being psychologically tortured, while the rich are getting richer and everybody else is suffering, $900 billion, basically $1 trillion to the defense budget. Just think about that right there.
Look, last minute shopping during the holidays is the worst. You're probably running out of ideas. The stores are packed and forget about finding parking. That's why Aura Frames has become my go-to last minute lifesaver. It's a gift that actually feels thoughtful and personal. I'll be honest, I typically struggle with ideas for what to buy for my family, my parents, my siblings, all of them. So I tend to put it off because I want something special, something memorable. And in my opinion, Aura Frames is the best gift for that. Here's why. Aura Frames lets you share photos or videos from any device and they'll instantly appear on the frame wherever it is in the world. It could be at your home, your office, or across the country, even across the world, wherever you want to share it. And the quality, it's incredible. Aura displays photos in true color and automatically adjusts to the light level of the room. At night, when you turn out the lights, the frame turns off too, saving energy and letting you sleep. And setup is ridiculously fast. It only takes about 2 minutes using the Aura app. You just download the app, connect to Wi-Fi, preload your photos before it ships, add a message, and then keep sharing photos and videos all year long. Every frame even comes in a premium gift box with no price tag, ready to gift. You can't wrap togetherness, but you can frame it. For a limited time, save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $35 off Aura's best-selling Carver matte frames, named #1 by Wirecutter, by using promo code Meidas at checkout. That's AURA frames.com, promo code Meidas, MEIDAS. This deal is exclusive to listeners and frames sell out fast, so order yours now to get it in time for the holidays. Support the show by mentioning us at checkout. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, now, when you look at the NDAA, can I tell you what was not included in it and what was supposed to be included in it? There was supposed to be funding to allow military members to get IVF treatment if they want to have a baby, right? Donald Trump, I'm the fertilizing president, whatever the gross thing he says is. But they stripped out from the bill, from the NDAA, the ability of our service members to get IVF coverage because MAGA Mike Johnson and MAGA Republicans view IVF as against the will of God, and they view IVF as murder. So we're now depriving our troops from coverage for IVF for troops who want to start a family. What else has been removed? Department of Defense collective bargaining protections. So for all of those people like, we're unions for Trump. No, you're unions for stupid. Because you're not unions for Trump, you're unions for stupid because Trump hates unions. How many ways can Donald Trump tell you, union leaders and people who are in unions who still support this guy, he hates you? His whole life is he hates unions. Like, if there's a few things that he's known for, it's like you're fired, bankrupting things, defrauding things, being a sexual abuser, and saying he hates unions. That's like literally like, if you look at his trading card, his traitor card, that's what he says. He hates unions. So that's removed, any protections there. And also, Road to Housing has been removed. Many people believe the Road to Housing Act would be included in this National Defense Authorization bill. But what was the Road to Housing? What did it provide for? It was a comprehensive, bipartisan U.S. federal bill designed to address the nation's crisis over housing by doing the actual things you need, increasing the supply of housing, enhancing affordability, reforming existing programs. So this was actually going to make a massive change, but of course that was not included. And then what else was taken out? Something called CBDC. So House GOP, as Meredith Lee Hill explains, House GOP hardliners already warned it will be a big deal if the leaders leave out from the National Defense Authorization Act a ban on the Federal Reserve issuing a central bank digital currency. But the Trump regime and Donald Trump with all of his crypto holdings also wants there to be a central bank digital currency. So MAGA Mike Johnson back in July lied to his members and said they would add this ban on the Federal Reserve issuing a CBDC back in July. And guess what? MAGA Mike lied again. So MAGA Mike's going to have to deal with this when he gets back. Now, a few other data points I want to give you. I'm going to do a whole other video on this, so make sure you catch it. I'm doing it this morning. Marjorie Taylor Greene given the secrets of what really happens in MAGA circles behind Donald Trump's back. She goes, all of the MAGAs, they hate Donald Trump. They mock him. We make fun of him. And then they put on the MAGA hat. But everybody secretly hates him. They're just too weak and pathetic to admit it publicly. And they sell out their constituents while basically being Putin bootlickers because Trump's messaging looks an awful lot like Russia. Go look at the United States security strategy and compare it to Russia's security strategy, like the exact same thing, basically. So Marjorie Taylor Greene saying that, and Marjorie Taylor Greene also saying, I stood for women who were raped when they were 14 years old, and because of that, the Trump regime fought against me and now having death threats come my way, and said that they want to protect the powerful people who are in the Epstein files. And I'm like, you want to protect the powerful men? The hell are you talking about? So Marjorie Taylor Greene diming Donald Trump out. While you have Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent of the Trump regime being asked the following question on CBS Nation. Here, Face the Nation, play this clip.
We hear from, for example, the president when he says that affordability is a con job by Democrats. That seems to just not be resonating with consumers that have been polled by CBS. 60% of Americans polled by this network told us President Trump makes prices and inflation sound better than they really are. And his approval rating on the economy is now down to 36% in our latest poll. On inflation, approval is even lower at 32%. Don't you need to show that you feel the pain?
Well, Margaret, I think the president's frustrated by the media coverage of what's going on.
This is the polling of average Americans.
Yeah, but I think the average Americans are hearing a lot of it from media coverage. And I will tell you that the affordability has two components. There's inflation, and then there's real incomes. Real incomes are up about 1%. And what we're not going to do is say that Americans don't know what they're feeling. We've been working on it every day. I was on your show on March talking about affordability. We've made a lot of gains, but remember, we've got this embedded inflation from the Biden years where...
And then finally, on state regime media, which calls itself Fox, they bring in a MAGA Republican Senator McCormick, and because his election is not coming up soon, because he was just recently elected, unfortunately, McCormick's out there basically saying, I guess the best message we can come up with right now is we inherited a horrible economy from Biden, and look what we've done. We've made it a little bit better, but it's still bad. That's your message? Let's be clear. Biden handed you an economy that was the envy of the world, according to The Economist, Wall Street Journal, Bloomberg. A Goldilocks economy. Inflation was going down. 16 million jobs were created. Okay. Unemployment was at record lows under former President Biden. And y'all destroyed it. Y'all destroyed it. But here, play this clip of McCormick.
To be with the president on Tuesday, and what are you expecting the president's messages to be?
Well, I'm hoping to be with him. And I was just in Pennsylvania the last 3 days, in that part of the Pennsylvania, the northeastern part. And listen, I think the message is that we inherited a train wreck from the Biden administration, out of control inflation, an enormous regulatory state, real wage growth hadn't kept up. And we've made a lot of progress in the last 12 months with the president's agenda. Inflation is about half of what it was on average during the Biden administration. Real wage growth exceeds the inflation numbers. And you've got all sorts of things that we did right out of the gate, which is putting money in the pockets of working families, whether it's the child care tax credit or no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. So we've made a lot of progress, but there's a lot more work to do. And I think the president will lay out that agenda and how all the policies that he's put in place are going to help working families. And there's more to come, particularly in deregulation and in energy dominance.
Yeah.
And then finally, I just want to give you this data point right here. This is the latest YouGov poll. The U.S. should accept refugees from a variety of countries. 53% of Americans support the U.S. accepting refugees. Not accept any refugees, which is the Trump plan right now. Only 19% of Americans say that the United States should not accept any refugees. Only accept white South Africans as refugees and no other groups. That's quite literally the Trump regime plan. The only refugees they take are white Afrikaners because the Trump regime has made up a fake conspiracy that there's a genocide against the white Afrikaners in South Africa right now. It's just totally false. Only 3% of Americans think that we should only accept white South Africans. It's the latest YouGov poll. 3%. 97% disapprove of the policy. 97% disapprove of the policy. 97% disapprove of the policy. You get the point? Okay. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. And thank you so much for watching.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.